Hello, friends, nieces, nephews, uncles, aunts. Grab your little floozies and touch their pants.
Whoa.
The bold take, fellas. What's up?
Nothing, man. Hey,
Cat.
I just throwing two fingers in the air for my man Pervy Irby.
Oh man. So we've got exactly one thing to talk about, I think, this week, maybe one and a half.
Oil changes.
What's that?
It's like oil changes.
Oil changes.
Hit her with the old dipstick.
But we're gonna start with somebody who would never get caught in such a precarious situation, and that's our man Boz, right?
Boz.
Boz, first of all, he always knows where every camera is. So if you're with Boz, he's totally aware. And you know, this is just a function of the way he grew up, right? I mean, where he came from, he knows everything that's going on around. Okay. He would never get caught in this situation. Number two, the most faithful guy in the world. Like, has Boz ever betrayed his loyalty to either of you?
No,
Never.
negative.
No.
Not even once.
Do you think Boz would ever let his team go home on a plane without him? Or
No,
a luxurious vehicle?
No,
Hell no.
no, definitely not. Absolutely not.
So what you're gonna do is, if you need a ride, probably to a fancier place, like if you're going to, I don't know, Urban Meyer Chop House or whatever. 904-887-0763 is our man Boz, and he's gonna get you there in style, and he's not gonna let you get caught by the paparazzis.
That's right. That's right. If he's driving around like the wrestling VIPs, he can certainly handle driving around you and your old lady, right? Or your old man or whatever.
Urban, if you're listening to this, give him a call. I mean,
Urban should probably start using Boz.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
He should start using Boz if he's not already. But look, I think we're going to get into that. My man, not Boz, but my man Pervy Irby, questionable decision making. So, like you said, though, solid, a gentleman who's a true professional who doesn't have questionable decision making. That's our boy Boz. So,
bingo.
We've said it a million times. Night out, wedding, any kind of big occasion that you have going on, you need transportation. Let our man line it up for you. Limos, buses, you name it.
Champagne.
Right? Champagne on ice, right? Makes it extra.
We got the pics online to prove it.
It's true. And I've used Boz and I've seen it. And I've seen other people use Boz and just rave about how he sets it up. So yeah. Anyway, we say it every week. Sounds like a broken record. Call Boz for your serious transportation needs. He ain't Uber. He ain't Lyft. He ain't looking for your 5-star rating on the app. He's not begging for a $3 tip. That's not Boz. My man's legit.
He got so many 5-star ratings that he got upgraded to where they don't even have to rate anymore. It's just assumed. You just know it.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, call Boz. That's the moral of the story. We're kicking the show off. Boz, our longest tenured sponsor in the history, actually, of all podcasts, not just this podcast, but of all podcasts. That's science. That's a fact. You can go and look it up. So we're starting out the episode with him this week, as we felt like we wanted to start with some positivity, and then we'd lead into some hot takes on what's been going on around these parts.
Well, before we get into any hot takes, there was a football game that you attended in an away city, so we want to hear about that.
Yes. I did attend the football game with, I think there was probably a few thousand Jaguar fans there total. And yeah, Cincinnati, very nice place. Pleasantly surprised. I don't know if can I say pleasantly surprised, because I sort of was hyping myself up about it, right? I think I was doing that on here already.
I think your Google and your research got you like to where it wasn't a surprise that it was sweet, but as you were like discovering that, you were like, holy shit, this is going to be way cooler than I ever thought.
Yeah. And what's funny is, so where we stayed, there's not a ton of Airbnbs in like downtown Cincinnati. It's not like even Houston, there were like a million of them. So trying to find one that looked like it wasn't completely seedy and that met our specific needs that we needed for the crew. I find this one. It ends up being basically affiliated and owned by the Badass Brewery where we had the night before party.
Oh,
A place
shit.
called a place called Ryan Guys. So these people, they bought an old building kind of right next to the brewery, and they gutted the whole thing, and they made like 6 or 7 apartments, and they turned them all into Airbnbs, and they
I
named
like
each
this
one.
move. This is a money move here.
Oh, it's a money move, and then they named each one after one of their beers too. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's where we stayed. Now I have to say, we got into town, made by Tim and myself and the beautiful Mrs. Cap. We immediately, so when you land in Cincinnati, you actually don't land in Cincinnati, you land in Kentucky across the river, and it's about 30 minutes from downtown, 25 minutes. Well, the Ubers at this time when we got there, like I pull up the Uber app because Boz wasn't there. If Boz was there, I would have just called Boz, would have already set it up. But I pull up the Uber app, it's like $73,000 Uber to get to downtown. And I'm just like, great, okay.
Got to cross state lines.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're going. So we get there, and immediately I'm like, all right, this is very downtown. And not in like the good context of a downtown. It was a little seedy, a little ghetto. That night, awesome. It was great meeting everybody up at the night before party. The rooftop on this brewery is gorgeous, beautiful vibes, beautiful scenery. We were all hungry. The place closed down at like 10. I said, I looked at this pizza place. Let's hoof it. It's about a mile. You know, we're downtown. Let's walk. It's a beautiful night. So we all start walking. Bro, I'm following the map to get there. We make this turn down one street, and I swear to God, I felt like I was in the scene, like a scene from The Wire. There was just people. There were like girls in like tiny outfits dancing on the side of the street.
Hell yeah.
Dudes just like in like lowrider cars, and other dudes just like leaned up into the window like this, and like it could have been a record screen, like just like as this like group of like 9 white people are like trying to walk through, and I'm just like, this is interesting. We all got Jaguar gear on, you know. We're in like it was a little bit of there were a couple of alleys right near our Airbnb that were a little sketchy, and it was
looking like you got a wallet that you could come off of real quick.
Yeah, like, hey, come here, white boy. I may have heard that a couple times. But anyway, you know, it was all good. So we walked to the spot. The game, the stadium is actually pretty cool. I've come to this conclusion. I don't really like domes. I want to check the one out in Minnesota because it looks dope the way they've got that big window and you kind of see down the skyline and stuff. I kind of hated Houston. Dallas was fucking terrible. That's the most overrated stadium I've ever been to. MetLife is right up there with it. It's not a dome, but it's just this big box of concrete. It's
lifeless
terrible.
blob.
Yes, there's no character, no anything to it. But I like Cincy. Cool sight lines, different, you know, some kind of different angles of the upper deck and stuff. And it's right there on the river. And then it's basically connected by like a street that has a bunch of mostly corporate type bars and restaurants and stuff. And then the Red Stadium is right there. So on game day, the NFL Network stage was set up in that area. They had a big band playing like on the other side of the street. Really cool thing. They had tents just out in that open area in between the bars selling beers. $5 for like a 16-ounce beer. Where do you see that on a freaking game day? It was fantastic.
Yeah, it can't be that.
So yeah, the bar gate was really cool. Was awesome. We had over 100 people there. What's crazy about these trips, man, is I end up meeting new people every time that have never been on a trip with us, that I've never met, and met quite a few of those. Like, really, so shout out. And many of them told me they listened to the podcast, which still kind of blows my mind that people actually want to listen to the 3 of us knuckleheads just bullshitting.
I'm the only one that sees the numbers. So as far as you two know, it's like nobody even listens to this.
Yeah.
It's true.
Until somebody walks up to me and says, hey, love the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't ever even really think about it.
And we don't ever even talk about those numbers either. It's just like, oh,
we don't. We just get together and shoot the shit, which is probably what makes it halfway decent and tolerable. But anyway, so just huge shout out to the people who obviously support BCB, but then are listening to this and everything like that. It's crazy. It was great to meet so many of you. It's great to meet you. Shout out to Bass Plays Dave. Good to see him. It had been a minute.
Always shows out.
Yes, but he was there with his whole crew. Like his pops was there, his sister, his brother-in-law, his girlfriend, his best friend's wife. Like it was super killer.
Deep.
They were because they're Louisville right there. Like it's like right next door.
Sure.
And yeah, met a lot of like Kentucky and Ohio based, Indiana based Jaguar fans. So it was cool. You know, we haven't done like an official trip kind of up to the Midwestern sort of area. Was super dope. So it was awesome meeting them. Obviously the game, I mean, what is there to say about the game? It was a really cool feeling to be in a stadium for a little while where it seemed like we were the better team.
Yeah.
It had been a while.
Having a 2-score lead in somebody else's house is
when we got that
rare for us.
We got that second touchdown when Trevor ran that shit in. Like it was just like wow. And the people around us we had about 50 or so of us sitting together. That the place was packed, bro.
Man, they showed the stadium, and I was like, "What is happening?" I've never seen that place look like that.
Yeah, well, and I was talking to people. I'm like, "Damn, what a good crowd you guys got." And the one guy's like, "Bro, this is the best crowd we've had in years. Like, this is crazy." And then another guy on the way out, he's like, "I haven't been to a game in 5 years." He's like, "It's my first game in 5 years." You know, like they're fired up about Joe Burrow. Like,
yeah, you get a quarterback, you win a couple of games, you're downtown,
you get a night game
improved a little bit. All of a sudden there's people down there.
Yeah.
Weird.
So it was it was a fleeting moment in time where we were feeling good and the vibes were high and the vibes were positive. And then that debacle on the goal line. And frankly, I know we're going to get into our man Pervy Irby in a minute, but I kind of think that's where his entire like weekend or week really started to go off the rails, was like in that moment. If you really look at it from a timeline perspective. But I remember I turned to Eric Dunn, shout out, friend of the podcast, Dunn and Drew. I looked at him, I looked at Tim, I looked at Mrs. Cap, and I was just like, that's it. We're losing this game. And Melissa's just like, I mean, she's like, God, you're like, this team is just beating you down so much. You're so quick to, and I said, I know it in my bones. I feel it.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like
as soon as you texted us, bro, I was like, yep, you're right. I knew it too. Like as soon as we didn't score there, that shit was done.
Yep.
It was over. God, it's so annoying like that we do. Like you just know.
Yeah. Well, you saw the difference in other than the fact the team's much better than ours, but in the Monday night game, going up 21 before the half, like the Chargers did. I mean, the freaking Raiders came because it's the NFL, man. People are going to make some adjustments. They're going to say, hey, we played like ass. We're grown ass men. This is night. Like it was Thursday night, right? So this is primetime football. We got embarrassed in the first half, and they're going to come out and the momentum is going to swing back either temporarily or for good, but it's going to, like, that's just sports. That's especially football. That's how it is. And you saw the Raiders came out like gangbusters Monday night after going down 21-0 before the half. And like, I remember having a moment there. I was like, oh, Chargers might be in trouble. They went like 3 and out on the next drive. And I'm like, but the prospect of coming back from not just 3 scores, but 3 touchdowns, that's hard. Like had we gone up 21-0 and lost that game, which we are fully capable of, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Had we done that though, that's one of those ones where you're like, that is hella like insane. That actually just happened. Right.
Yeah.
So it was kind of the tale of 2 halves really. And in the second half, you just kind of sat there and waited. And I remember saying to Melissa, I was just like, I've gone to 2 games so far this year on the road, and I can't say that I enjoyed this one any more than I did Houston. Like, and that sounds weird because I had people afterwards texting me, and even when I got home, or even Bengals fans that I met the next day when we were hanging out in downtown, who were like, "Man, what a game last night!" And I'm like, "Yeah, for you." Like for me, that was heart wrenching. Like, it's almost like I'm more prepared for them to just get blown out from the jump than I am for them to let me down in that way. It was almost a new way for them to let me down.
Hey, no, I feel you. So check this. We were at the Perfect Rack, friends of the pod.
Yes,
Watching the game.
Looked fantastic, by the way. I saw videos and whatnot. It looked fun.
Yeah, it was 10 out of 10. It was a good time. Definitely run that back sometime. But we were walking out of there, and I looked at Solly, and I straight up looked at him and said, man, they did Cap dirty, bro. They didn't even let him leave early. They made him stay for the whole game, and they still lost. And Solly looked at me, and he was just like blank, and then he just laughed, and just was like, fuck, like, that is crazy. And I was like, yeah, man, that's like almost like you said, Cap, like, that's a new way, man. That's no better than it was before.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, I guess, in hindsight, Trevor played well.
Yeah.
There were certainly bright spots.
I want to say I'm feeling differently than y'all too. Like, I mean, Dilly, you may feel the same way, but like, I feel so detached, bro, that like I'm almost more objective about the team than I used to be. Like, I expect the unexpected, and I thought they looked better, and I almost walked away. Like, obviously it was heartbreaking, and I kind of saw it coming, but like, losses doesn't really hurt me anymore. It's just like, I'm trying to, I guess because I'm an optimistic person, I'm looking for the positive maybe, but
I don't know. I think this week in general, like with all the events that have happened this week, have like just made me so tired in regards to the Jaguars, to where like, until we started talking about this, like, kind of forgot we played a football game like less than a week ago. Like we you just said like Lawrence played good, and Cap talked about how like good first half, bad second half. Like, I kind of like forgot all that. And like, when it comes to that, like when they lost the game, and I made that comment to Solly about like, damn, sucks for Cap. Like, I was just like, this shit's expected. Like, it is kind of is what it is. Like, no big deal in that sense, because it's not a surprise. But all of this shit happened this week, and it's just like so tiring to be a Jaguars fan. And I think the most tiring part about the whole like Urban debacle is that people think people are upset that he was like doing a thing with another girl that wasn't his wife, when anyone with a brain doesn't care about that, because that's not the issue. The issue is he like preaches from this holier than thou like pedestal, and you can't be the distraction, and he was the distraction, and then that's like what's got everyone upset. And people continue to be like, oh man, like you're just you don't, oh, what, do you not get pussy? Like what the fuck? Like that has nothing to do with anything, you bunch of weirdos. So I know we're about to talk into this more, but like this whole week has just been like so tiring, that if they win on Sunday, I'm gonna be like, hell yeah, let's go, my Trevor Lawrence. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. But that seems like so unrealistic at this moment. Like, that's bullshit. I could care less about that. Like, maybe 1 minute of happiness.
Yeah, you kind of opened up a whole can of worms there, but I guess to put the game to bed, I feel like I would have felt like you guys, and maybe probably more towards Dilla than how you felt, Solly, or how you feel, had I been here. Mm-hmm. It was just different being there, because and so that was my fourth straight L in person to start the season. Right. So and if we lose Sunday, it'll be 5. I don't want to talk about it, but I will be there. I've been there for all 4 of Pervy Irby's infamous 0-4 start. Like, I was at every one of them. And it's just
so pathetic.
Everything that we put into this stuff. And I've said this over and over again. I don't want to sound like some asshole who just keeps talking about all the shit that we do and how exhausting it is. But with that said, like,
true though.
There is an element of that. And so when you get into a game like that, there was a split second in that game when we went up 14-0. And when the crowd, that was like, it was a great crowd, they were silent. And there were Duval chants going. There were people who you could tell don't get to go to a lot of Jaguar games that were just fired up and ready to like show out. And ordinarily I'm like, oh, these poor souls, they don't know it's coming. But there was a brief moment in time that I allowed myself to say, is this it? Is this a moment where I get to enjoy being in the stands and winning big and winning convincingly, as an away fan, like so many people do to me in my own stadium, in my own seats. Like, is this my moment? Because I don't get many moments like that. I haven't had it. This 25th away game. I haven't had very many of those, and it's been a long time. And so it was just, there was a moment of like euphoria where I could feel it starting to seep in or starting to try to. And then that fourth down play just took it all away. So, but had I been home, I think I would have been able to look at it a little bit more objectively. You know, I'm so wrapped up in the weekend. I'll close it out with this. Cincinnati was so glad that Mrs. Cap and I stayed the extra day. So we stayed Friday. We came back Saturday because, you know, game day, you're going around, you're trying to soak up game day vibes. And then we got to go to the bar gate. And I've got to make sure that's set up, and that's all that. So we had some good times Thursday, game day. Very brief good times Wednesday evening. We just got to actually explore the freaking city on Friday. And that's where we found like this whole strip and this area of really cool bars and restaurants and old buildings. Like I talked to you guys about already. We're all kind of nerds for that, but like that was really cool. So that was what, honestly, I think had I, you know, shout out to the Made by Tim, poor
You didn't
bastard.
spend a whole day in an airport like maybe.
He spent an entire, had I left and had that experience
Oh,
Thursday night and then gotten up early and gone to the airport and had my connection canceled and sat in the airport for 1,800 hours.
we'd have to call crisis hotlines for Cal.
I would have had a totally different mentality coming back about the whole place, about the trip, like everything. So, you know, I think all those things considered, it was, I'll say this, when next time we play Cincy, as long as it lines up on the calendar, you know, to a point to where people can go, right? It's not Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, whatever, you know, it's not 4th of July or any other holiday. Then I think it's a trip. Like I kept saying to, you know, the crew around me, I'm like, man, the boys would have loved this. This was, we would have had some fun on this trip. So, anyway, so that's Cincinnati. And,
we're off of Cincinnati.
We've moved on from Cincinnati. We are now on to, who do we play after the Titans?
I don't know, the Dolphins in London, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, and then we got to bye.
I got the schedule right here.
Okay. Yeah. So we're on to the Dolphins. I'm just gonna keep up with the theme where I just skip a week every. We're on to the Dolphins.
We should while we're wrapping up the Cincinnati game though, we should shout out the Perfect Rack.
Yeah. Can I just get a quick fuck the Titans in? Even though we're on to Miami, I just want to say fuck the Titans.
Fuck the Titans.
Fuck the Titans.
There we go. But Perfect Rack looked fun as hell, man. I was, you know, I saw the videos and stuff. It looked like you guys had a good crew in there, and
we got a lot of people out. We got a lot of like our boys out, and then there was a lot of other people that we haven't got to meet before. So it's cool. It's like some people that I recognize from Twitter would say what's up, and so it was really cool. It was a great crowd, and it was a perfect atmosphere for a game.
It was fun. So
I had a little
food was good as hell.
Had a little bit too many drinks.
You were smashed.
School night, but it's that type of place. It makes you want to, you know, have a good time. So, you know, short little trip for me over to the hills. So Murray Hills, very own Perfect Rack was a good time for an away game.
Sick. I'll have to make it. Hopefully this season we maybe towards the end of the season we can connect. We'll take a ride out there or something.
Yeah, we'll have to commit to another game. They do have 14 TVs, and I think I watched the game on every single one of them, looking for the one that was the good luck charm.
Yeah, dude. I was there with you.
Yeah. Didn't find the right one, but it's like I had one for a little while there, but
it's so funny you mentioned that, bro. Literally, there was this crew of guys sitting down in front of us, and I think the Jaguar, they're from up there in like the Cincinnati area, and so it was like two bros that were Bengals fans, and then they were there with their 2 or 3 buddies that were Jag fans, and they were kind of the crew that was sitting in front of me. And the Bengals, they were talking so much shit before the game started to each other, to me, to everybody, to Eric Dunn, to everybody. And after the half, they came back, and the 2 Bengals guys kind of switched seats. And the one guy was like, "Oh, the Jag fans like, oh, you guys should sit over here. And I'm like, no, these motherfuckers need to sit how they were sitting last half. Like, and I'm looking at the Jaguar fan and I'm just like, bro, come on, act like you've been here before. Like if anything, we need them to go back to their seats. And then they were hip to it, the Bengals dudes, and they're like, oh, hell no, we're staying right here.
Fuck.
I don't want to say that's what did it, but it didn't help. It didn't help.
Hey, I feel you. I'm superstitious as hell. I don't even want to get started on the weird shit I do. Shit don't work. It does on Saturday. That's why it's a thing. But on Sunday,
Dillard has worn the same underwear for every Bama game since 2008.
Yeah, it's not the underwear, Dillard. It might be Nick Saban.
Yeah. Well, I wear Nick Saban underwear. No.
Hey, how do we get Urban Meyer some?
Yeah, dude, he needs them.
So that's cool. No, that's dope. You guys had a good time there. It looked quite live.
And to wrap up we were all a little twisted. And to wrap up the perfect rack too, the wings actually were really fire. And if you're going, you have to get what was the style called, Dillard? Was it PRB?
Yeah, something like that. It was like a teriyaki hot.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up for next pod. But those were the ones. Those were the ones.
They were fire.
And I saw they were giving out the shots for Jaguar touchdowns too.
And they were fuego. Even I had 4 of them. Three touchdowns. My bad. 3 of them.
Yeah, the Jag juice was fire.
You almost had 4 of them.
Yeah, fucking Trevor. No. Yeah, dude. Seriously.
Or were you this close?
More of a 3-finger guy.
Oh, my man.
Intent.
All right. So how the hell do we segue this now, Sally?
Well, let's go ahead and knock out another piece of news that we've got here, right?
Bum, 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 bum.
So we got a new sponsor alert.
New sponsor alert. New sponsor alert. New sponsor alert.
Another local company we are pleased to have as a sponsor is New Era Marketing. Head to their website, neweramarketing.com. And they are, all about like digital media, website building, social, all that kind of marketing that you can.
It's more new age marketing, right? So, yeah, a lot of digital stuff. They're when it comes to the digital space in town. So if you're a small business owner, you've got a product that you need to market. They are the ones in town that, and I'm not just saying this because they're sponsoring us. I actually was familiar with them ahead of time. They really, really specialize in what, let's be honest. I mean, nobody's mailing things anymore. Not a lot of people. The marketing's gone digital, and they've got some of the best people in town that have come together from some of the bigger, some of the other shops in town. And they've put together this entire marketing group. So really pumped. I mean, they have some cool accounts and they handle some cool stuff. I don't know why they're messing around with a bunch of jabronis like us, but if
I was just looking at some of their accounts, I saw Pratt guys on there, City of Jacks is on there. If you go on their website, I mean, their website almost speaks for itself. Like the website looks amazing.
Well, and so here's the thing, right? Pratt guys, anybody who they're not a sponsor, so I'm not going to give them too much airtime, but they are, I guess they are a client of a sponsor, so we can do that. But Pratt guys, amazing work that they do. Ornate backyards, all sorts, just dream landscaping and hardscape, really, right? So anything you can dream up, that's what Pratt guys basically does. But what is they're not just great at what they do. What has made them great is actually how they've marketed themselves. This is just kind of like a brief foray into this, but they own, like most construction type based businesses don't really market. And they've built this killer business because they're really savvy and they're good at it. And one of the reasons why they're really savvy and they're good at it is because they have New Era Marketing.
Yeah, we said their name and you knew who they were. You, the listener. We lose Cap.
That's tragic.
Oh.
He's just.
I thought we lost me too because you were being still.
Oh, he's back.
I'm back.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm here. How is my internet connection unstable? Oh no, I better call New Era Marketing.
Yeah, you got the Urban Meyer of the internet connection.
Oh shit, that's you. Usually not me. Usually it's Solly or you. That might be a first.
I moved. I'm big time now.
You're big time. That's right. Anyway, yeah. So if you've got a product, if you got a business, you need some help. I don't think that anything's too big or too small. There's a bunch of creative cats over there, and they can really get you a good bang for your buck. So
yeah, and it's New Era NUERA marketing.com.
Yep. Boom. Welcome to the pod. Love it.
We appreciate them.
Yep. Speaking of bang for your buck, let's talk about Urban Meyer. Is that a good segue? I don't know.
Beautifully done.
I think that'd be a finger bang for your buck.
Did I nail that? Did I nail that?
You really got that ad from A to B.
My man. Also known from ass to butthole. That is what A to B now means. A to B plus two mentality, right? I mean, so, plus two fingers.
It's amazing how all of his little things kind of work out to where you can make a joke off of them.
Dude, it's because he's Joel Osteen. Everything applies to everything. Whatever he says is so like general and basic that you can apply it to like raising your kids, growing grass, getting to work on time, remembering to eat dinner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can literally anything. Like,
he's a genius.
It all applies.
I gotta say, my favorite part about the whole thing, like normally stuff like this happens and we're all at our own houses and we're all seeing it on our phones and reacting on Twitter, right? My favorite part was Dillard was over watching college football when all this shit hit the timeline. So me and him were literally like sitting next to each other on the couch, laughing our asses off, making as many jokes as we can, reading jokes and showing each other the memes and shit, like right in person. And meanwhile, the Gators are like collapsing at the same time on the team.
Well, that part's not funny to me as a diehard Gator fan. The last
it was
part.
Hilarious. I thought you were a UM guy.
No.
We're on to Florida.
We're back to Florida.
We're back to Florida. Okay.
We're back to Florida. We're on to Miami. Or the Dolphins, not Miami. We're on to the Dolphins.
But I really sat there like after I saw it, and Dillard was like talking, showing me memes, tweeting, firing off tweets, blah blah blah, doing whatever he's doing. I sat there and just kind of absorbed it for a little while, and my initial thought was like, well, we have to get as outraged as we possibly can and run Urban out of town.
Oh man, right. It's so funny. Like, I think that's like the best part was like on Saturday when it went viral before it turned into like the second video, what's gonna happen, fucking and then that was before like he didn't fly home with the team. Like there was just before so much bullshit happened. It was funny as fuck because like, you know that like Shelly Meyer is ride or die, like whatever. She knows what the fuck Urban's doing out there. Like, let's be real. So like at that point, it was funny. So that's why I think like it's been hilarious.
Let's hold on before you continue. Why was it like, other than like just the sheer awkwardness of like that type of moment being caught, it was extra awkward. Like, let's be real. Let's be specific here. It was extra hilarious and extra awkward because of his positioning while the chick was playing.
Yeah.
Dude, he was like holding his boner down while she was like rubbing on his knee.
He was like, gangsters don't dance. We just pull up our pants.
Right. Do the rock the way. But he was doing the lean forward, dude. Like,
no, he was trying to tuck, but he couldn't tuck, so he just went for the block. Like he just
he was like, dude, this thing is gigantic. If I lean over far enough, it'll like back in. Like he knew what he was doing.
Right through the denim.
Seriously, no, you know that dude was wearing khakis and his fucking Nike socks. And that's like, people are like, you think that's really him? I told Solly straight away, I was like, bro, look at those fucking socks. Of course that's him. They're the same socks he's had since he showed up in Jacksonville.
Socks absolutely sent me through the fucking ceiling.
So if my man Herbs was just wearing some crew socks or some no-shows, there might have been some plausible.
I would have had a reasonable doubt. that that was him.
Hey, what, like dead ass, like no bullshit. What do you think the chances are they were the same socks he was wearing on the sideline when they lost on Thursday? Because I did. I could see it.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I also think like he must have like a sock endorsement, so he's probably got a bunch of them. Like,
motherfucker.
Yeah. Hey, when he like travels, he just grabs packs. He doesn't like grab your like folded in sock pairs. He's just like new pack.
Does he have enough money? Does he have enough money to never rewear a pair of socks? I know
Fuck
Khan does.
Fuck yeah.
He definitely does, right?
yeah.
Would you rewear socks if you were Urban Meyer?
No,
I don't think I would.
See, I would, because like I think the like length. Hold up. I know, but let me just get this out. I think the length of time that you get out of a pair of socks is like a challenge, because them shits be disappearing out of nowhere. Like, I swear to God, I put two of them, only two, one sock, left foot, right foot in the washing machine, and only one will come out. And like, I don't know, but anyway, like back to Urban Meyer, I just think like we couldn't forget or like not bring up that point at this point.
No, but I was gonna say, I have some pairs of socks that I wouldn't want to just wear once. Like, I got some nice no-show, some good socks. So like in that case, I feel like, yeah, I'd want to rock those multiple times. But if I was wearing the shits like Urban, okay, look at you, fancy.
I got some Hurley socks on.
You're just stunting on them.
That's what I wear to work.
Hey, that's for the haters right there, though, that didn't think Dilla could get his leg up that high. That's what that was. You were flexing on him.
I've been getting loose.
But if I was just wearing some old man ass, like I just got off the golf course and like spent a bunch of money hitting on the cart girl kind of socks, like if I was wearing that type of socks, fuck no, I'd wear a new pair every day. You know what I mean?
You think Urban's ever got two fingers up a cart girl's ass?
I mean, he's out there at Glen Kernan right now. Are you kidding me?
Dude, that's like what Solly was saying earlier. Everything applies. It's just the +2 mentality.
+2, my man. +2.
But seriously, when I saw the first video, I was like, this will be blown over in like a day. This is nothing.
Right.
I was even making kind of jokes to like defend him a little bit. I'm like, yo, homie looks kind of awkward, right? Like I called it the marital block. Like he had like the block in, like, and then I think
I had a little thought creep into my head when the video, looking at the first video, like, is this a block or is he trying to get in there? It was just a little bit of it, but it was enough of a doubt to where it was like, this is fine.
To me, he also had this. I love how we're analyzing to the very T.
What we do. This is.
Hey, did you say analyzing?
I think I love how we're analyzing. Yes, big anal guy here. Wait a minute. I mean, big analysis guy. Wait a minute. Shout out Medlin. So
let's go Jaguars.
I had kind of similar thoughts, Solly, but then if you look at his face, and this is what kind of threw me for a loop, because I've never really seen Urban drunk. So I didn't know whether the look on his face was awkwardness or just drunkenness.
Yeah.
Because it was tough to tell.
The video alone was not damning at all. I mean, you couldn't really tell like what his face was, what his hand was doing. It looked very.
It was fairly cringy, because around that time, right, is when people started to like then quote tweet Shelly Myers thing, because people were, prior to the video coming out, people were like tweeting out photos, and then she like quote tweeted and said, "Oh, the old dog deserved a night out." I'd rather be with the grandkids, but he needed to go blow off some steam and shit like that. And then she ended up looking kind of silly, because then the video emerged, right? And then it was like, but then I think the temperature amongst most people that I saw and that I talked to was, it's creepy looking and it's not great, but like he's not really necessarily doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I've
done worse. I've done worse on dance floors with brides at their wedding. You know,
good to know. Good to know.
The first video, to be clear.
Okay.
That makes more sense. I was like, golly, dude, are you okay?
I'm the second one, okay?
I know you edit these, but are you sure? Did you write down the timestamp? Like, Jesus fuck, like, relax.
Do we need to pause this? Do we need to have a group apology to any specific brides or groups? Like, what do we got going here?
I said in front of everybody. Everybody knows.
Yeah. So that was, and I think, all right, look. I think we can all agree here. Even the people who continually right now want to hop in my mentions and like tell me I'm an idiot and defend Urban Meyer. Like
You don't get pussy.
right. I don't get any at all.
Never had any. We're all
Never once.
That's actually the funniest thing I've seen. My bad. Sorry.
I had a great reply to that I had your back. That was fantastic.
That was funny. That was good.
That was good. Even that guy was like, that's good. Even the guy who was like fucking with you. But you know, one undeniable fact about Urban is that he's a liar, right? Like, I mean, that's like the man is not a super truthful individual, right? That's a really nice way of saying he's pretty much a liar.
I've said in the past too, like NFL head coaches all are lying every day.
Well,
for the most part,
yes,
he's on a different level.
Right, he's lying about some different shit, right? Yeah. Like he's lying and he has lied in the past about things that are a lot more tied to morality and legality, if you will.
Murder.
Then I think you can say the average person.
Domestic violence,
having murderers on his football team in Florida, just little things, guys who shoot people in the face. Yeah, no big deal. Yeah. But like, so when you are a liar,
urban liar,
when you're urban liar, my man Pervy Irby, you tend to, this may be shocking to you guys and the audience that is listening to this, you tend to lie when you're a liar, and you tend to look to lie.
What?
And what my man Pervy Irby did was he basically looked at only what was in front of him. And he said, this is the video that's out there. Even though he knows damn well he had his fingers up her booty and probably a lot worse, or at least other things that are along those lines. He knew that. And rather than
mozzarella sticks,
rather than issuing just a blanket apology that everything that he did that after that evening was wrong, and so on and so forth, he tried to just grasp on to the one little bit.
Tried to minimize it just a
little bit.
Just like that emoji.
A little bit.
Try to minimize it.
Yep. He was trying to plus to it. And
he was trying to -2 this one.
And that's where my man got caught.
Yeah.
Because that's and I actually told this to Jackson, and I've told it to, it's a life lesson, right? That every parent, not necessarily like having fingers up a butt or anything like that, but like we haven't had that conversation yet.
Poor Jackson.
Yeah, he's too young. But what we, what I did tell him is like, look, man, you start to tell a lie and a lie turns into other lies, and you do something wrong, and the more you lie about it, you have to keep lying, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And when the lies get bigger and bigger, shit gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a classic case of that. So I'd like to, in a moment, when we get into this, give my takes on the totality of the situation and how it fits with the Jaguars specifically, and him as a coach and him as a leader. But I just wanted to highlight that from the beginning, right? Like, so we kind of went through the timeline, a little bit of the videos and all that. He could have really put this shit, like that second video could have came out, and if he would have already handled a proper apology, he would have minimized some of the bullshit. But the fact that he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar again, it just made it worse.
That's the reason people are still talking about it today on Wednesday night.
Yep.
I mean, you got to address it in full and put it to bed as soon as you possibly can. Otherwise, you're dragging it out.
Yeah, and he did that. So, Billy, you kind of touched on it. For me, and I've said this many times already on social media. For me, I don't like. It's all jokes. It's +2. It's fingers. It's the marital block. It's the goofiness. It's the creepiness. It's the awkwardness. It's all of those things. But really, I'm not here to judge him morally necessarily on him, because I've seen a ton of people like, oh, his poor wife. I don't mean to say it in that manner, but like that's for him and his wife and his kids and his family, right? That's for him to worry about. And I think we all agree there, right?
Yeah. But also, like, that's not, I don't have any opinions on that. That's for them.
Yeah.
As long as
That's
he's
their
not
life.
being like sued for like sexual harassment, like what do I care about any of that for?
Yeah. So get into a little bit then, like, I know you started to earlier, but like, and I think you and I, we align a lot on this, what we do care about in this situation and what does bother us. Like, get into that a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think when you hear the players come out and say that him not being on the airplane meant something to them, I told like the homies earlier this week when that first came out, like, who gives a shit? Like, I personally don't care. It's like no big deal to me. But when you hear the players come out and talk about it, and you hear, I said it as the stuff with the information was coming out. Urban met with the players individually and not as a whole initially earlier in the week, canceled the team meeting earlier in the week. But like when he would talk to a position group, it's still a chunk of players depending on. And when he left the room, they laughed at him. You know what I'm saying? So when the coach comes at you, we've called him before as, Urban doesn't bring the philosophy to the football team. Urban's the CEO type head coach. He's the rah-rah, we're going to do it the right way and we're going to be a great team and we're going to have a great locker room. And because we're all this together, it's going to make us better players. And because we're better players, we'll be a better team. And because we're all that, we're going to be, good and win games and yada, yada, yada. Well, when you're the person who spews all that, and then you're the person who gets caught and you become the distraction that you've been preaching not to be, where's your accountability? So when you begin to hear that the players on the team are having issues with the head coach's accountability, that's not what you want to hear when you're 0-4. Things have been getting better, but now you have this huge roadblock in the way of just the guy who's in charge isn't leading the way anymore. And we have a young team who needs leadership, and maybe the quarterback's going to take over. It really, I mean, Urban Meyer came out right away and said, like, from this point on, it's for the team to like own it. It's for the locker room to take this, this situation, this scenario, however they see it, and they move forward with it, how they move forward with it, because it's for them to do. It's not for me to do. And I don't know if that's him just rambling or it's because he genuinely thinks like he doesn't have the attention of the locker room to where I think he would prefer to have it. And I think anyone who thinks he does have it is crazy. And I think everyone who is like just completely backing him up, and no matter what anyone says about Urban, if it's negative, they're just like, no, you're an idiot, you're anti-Jaguars. Like, I just don't think they understand the situation and like what is actually happening with the players, the people who actually like go on the field and play the game and do the plays and the first downs and touchdowns and shit. They're the ones who are upset. So I think that's why anyone who's upset about it or anyone who has negatives to say about it, that's where it's coming from. It's much deeper than, the coach bent some blonde over his knee and like poked his finger at the butt.
It is. And so to build upon that, because we're on the same wavelength, and I want to speak kind of directly to anybody who's listening to this, who falls into that camp, who keeps kind of screaming into the abyss about none of this is that big of a deal, right? What he did at the bar, not that big of a deal. What he did by not taking the plane home, right? And not finishing out the week. And then also not telling any of the players that he wasn't taking the plane home. All those things, not that big of a deal. Here's what I want people to understand and why it is a big deal and why many people feel like it's a big deal. All those things don't exist and they did not happen in a vacuum, right? Urban Meyer has the track record and the history that he has. We are not talking about Bruce Arians or Mike Tomlin, right? Individuals who have pretty good track records and, the opinion of them within the public and the private is very high. They are two individuals that are, from a character standpoint, are held to a pretty high esteem. We're not talking about them making these types of silly, stupid mistakes, right? We're not talking about that. We are talking about an individual who is a lightning rod And he's not. And yes, I do think. If you ask me, hand to God, Cap, do you think there are some people in the media who just hate this guy and who are rooting for, just sitting there waiting for him to trip up? Yes, absolutely, I do. There are some people in the media who are like that he's rubbed the wrong way over the years, that he's pissed off, whatever. They have axes to grind. Okay, but everything that he's done in the past, he's done. It's him. He is a grown ass man, 50 something years old, who has these indiscretions in his past. So again, we are not operating in a vacuum. He does not get the benefit of the doubt when you are being paid 8 figures to run an organization. We're not talking about the dude who gets the Gatorade. We're talking about somebody who, by nature, take his past and his track record out of it. Take that out of it and look at it from the perspective of, if he was the CEO of Google, he'd be gone, right? Like with some shit like this, you'd be gone. That's it. You're done. Past, present, future, doesn't matter. You're gone. So with that in mind, do I think that should have happened? No, not necessarily. But I want people to understand that this doesn't, there's 2 things at play here. He needs to be held to a higher standard, because what he has been hired to do is take this shit sandwich and turn it into something edible. And if you're doing that, if you're having an indiscretion like that, as minor as it may have been, as silly as it may have been, if you're having that 4 games into your tenure, when you were hired to take a dysfunctional team, like, that's what gets me. Not take the booty grabbing and all that shit out of it. You are the CEO, you are the leader of this organization. Blank checkbook that you were presented with, a blank checkbook and a mandate to go do what needs to be done to make this franchise decent again. In 4 fucking games into it, you can't take the fucking charter home with the team. That's what I want people to wrap their fucking heads around. Okay. Is it that big of a deal that he didn't take the charter home? No, we're not saying he didn't murder someone like his ex-players. He didn't beat a woman like an ex-coach that he had, that he defended and shielded. He didn't do that in this case or any case. But the absurdity from a leadership perspective, and I like studying actual real good fucking leaders. And I think of somebody like Nick Saban, who's near and dear to Dilla's heart. Could I picture Nick Saban not riding a fucking flight home 4 games into something, right? I couldn't do it. Could I? If you told me a week ago that Urban was about to do it, would I believe you? Yeah, probably. Maybe.
Yeah. So I think though it's important to understand too. College coaches don't always fly back because they go recruit. So
right.
So like
I'm talking about in that scenario though. In that scenario.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel you for sure then. Yeah.
In that scenario, like, it's just again, to go back to it, he doesn't get the benefit of saying this indiscretion or these indiscretions are in a vacuum. They're not. You have to total it up to everything else that's happened in his past. Okay. With all of that in mind, here's where I am with Urban. I need a fuck ton, like a metric fuck ton of convincing at this point that he is even near worth what Shad has invested in him. And I say that not just because of this stupid bullshit, but I say that because from the beginning, I've been skeptical. I've been skeptical with his coordinator and his coaching hires. And if you're going to be a CEO coach, this gets me to my greatest and my overall point here. If you are going to be hired to be the CEO coach, you're not. When Urban was hired, offense wasn't fixed. When Urban was hired, defense wasn't fixed. Special teams has been pretty other than the kicker not being able to fucking kick it between the 2 posts. Special teams has been okay.
But good.
It wasn't like hiring Sean McVay. Boom, offense fixed. Even with a mediocre quarterback, boom, fixed. right? Wasn't like the defense is boom. Oh, we got pass rush now. So when you're looking at making a coaching hire, if you want to hire the CEO, that CEO, dude, he's got to be locked tight. He's got to be the first one in, the last one out.
The model of consistency.
He's got to be the model of consistency. But even more so, boys, he's got to have a motherfucking plan.
Yeah.
And that's my issue right now is I can't see the plan. Can't see it. Was skeptical about it before. Hella skeptical. Wanted to believe. Made some t-shirts. Urban Renewal. Urban Fucks. T-shirts, great. Made some awesome t-shirts. Wanted to believe. Wanted to convince myself. Right?
Urban Fucks was a prescient t-shirt by you.
Yeah. You're telling me.
Fine,
But I can't see it, boys. I don't understand the vision. Daryl Bevel, Shoddy Jr. I don't see it. I don't see the vision.
To be, we got Trevor Lawrence. We're all good.
Trent Baalke, right? Urban talked about for fucking 3 months straight how much he studied the NFL. And we convinced ourselves that this asshole has done so much research and so much planning, and he's going to come in and he's going to know exactly what to do. And you know what I've ascertained so far? No pun intended in that word. What I have gathered at this point is a dude who came in with a vision to spend some money to make shit better, and a guy who had a bunch of Joel Osteen type shit, like Dilla said. And guess who sees through a lot of that shit?
Players, NFL players.
Fucking professional players.
Yeah.
You think they give a damn about the damn Jaguar logoed Own It polos they were given? Abso-fucking-lutely not.
Yeah.
So you take all those things, a guy who was kind of questionable and people had an opinion of him one way or the other. You take his indiscretions since he got here. And then you take what the hell is actually the fucking plan here, boys? And you put all those together. And I challenge anyone to tell me why I should still believe that Urban Meyer is the right guy to take Trevor Lawrence and this franchise forward. I dare someone to explain that to me.
You can't. You gotta put all your hope.
Nah, you're right.
All my hope is just in Trevor at this point. So like, I hope Trevor is like a transcendent leader that's gonna kind of take over and be the face at this point.
Well, that brings me to my kind of final point on it. And I don't know that there's been many people in the universe, in the Jaguar universe, that have been harder on Shad Khan than I have. But this is just another example. And Shad Khan has to get involved. He has to get involved. He needs to be talking to the players. He needs to be heading off any kind of bullshit that we may have with Trevor Lawrence in the next couple of years, with him being frustrated with the dysfunctionality of this franchise. And he needs to get in there and he needs to reassure them. There is a leadership. Let me back up. There's been a leadership vacuum that has existed in this organization for far too fucking long. And the fact that the guy you hired to take that mantle and run with it has already fucked up and lost trust 4 games in, there's only one person who can fix that. I'm not talking about firing him. Fire him, don't fire him. Fire him now, fire him at the end of the year, fire him in 2 years, whatever. But you got to step in, Shad, and you got to actually start taking an active fucking part in what's going on here. You got to.
You can't be absentee.
You can't. No longer. You lucked into finding a competent, good young quarterback. There will continue to be a line of fucking people who want this job for as long as Trevor Lawrence looks like he is going to be a competent quarterback. There will be a line out the fucking door of people who want this job. You must take action when action needs to be taken. You must take the temperature of the locker room, of the important players that are your building blocks, and make decisions accordingly. You have to.
Yeah.
And you got to fucking get it right at some point. So I don't want to hear about anything else. I don't want to hear about practice facilities. I don't want to hear about a fucking 4 seasons, 5 seasons, 6 seasons. You can keep all the fucking seasons. Like, I don't want to hear about them. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, we only have 2 seasons. And guess what? The Jaguars have no seasons. So like, I mean, at this point, I don't care about any of that.
Right. I think
just make us not embarrassing.
Yeah. Looking forward to this game against Tennessee. Urban hasn't been, we've seen it from big media. You've heard it from other places. Urban hasn't been in tune with the game plan for the week until today when they went out and physically practiced, right? Like, everyone's aware of that.
I don't know if everyone is. Interesting. I mean,
well, I think it's going to be interesting that if the team looks, now they were trending up, they've been trending up, I should say, from week 1 to week 4. If they look that much better and go out there and beat the Tennessee Titans, who have like been the proverbial thorn in your heel forever, everyone, like I even mentioned it earlier, go Urban Meyer, go Trevor Lawrence. He's gonna reap the rewards of that, but I think it's important to remember that, especially if they hit a dip in the week after, and then we go into the bye week and this and the other. The 1 week they came out and looked good, the 1 week they came out and did their thing, was almost an act of spite, is what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of channel everything you have. Like, it's us versus
teams and groups do that all the time too.
Yeah. So I think it's just something that you shouldn't forget if they do somehow win this weekend.
Yeah. And guess what?
Just for something to think about.
If they win this weekend, or they win 4 or 5 games this year, nothing that I just said changes.
Oh, you're right.
0. What is the plan? What's the plan? Right? What is the plan? Do the players buy into this guy? Because that's the thing, man, with grown ass men, right? And when it comes to leaders with grown ass men, you can't fake it. And once you lose it, is there even such thing as really, really getting it back?
And this wasn't even like, and can you even say getting it back with him? Because there were leaks of players feeling that way before all this
preseason. It's true. I mean, I don't think he's ever fully had the lock.
I mean, he came out and named Trevor the starter, looking at his shoes. I mean, I joked about it on this podcast. Like, he's looking down at his shoes, like, I guess we're gonna name Trevor.
People have given me so much shit about talking about his body language, and
it's important as hell.
It is, man. I don't know. At a certain point, it's just, and I think people are glossing over the fact that he canceled that Monday team meeting. I think that pissed some of the players off. Austin Lane,
a good leader, addresses it, like you said, sticks to actual facts. You don't have to say too much and get into too much detail, but you address the thing in full to everybody as soon as you can, and that's the only way you can move past it.
Yeah.
And that's like basic managerial shit that we
try to minimize it and drag it out, and that's sloppy.
Yeah, dude. If you're at work and you fuck up, you say, "Hey, I fucked up. My bad. This is what happened," and we're on with it. Because that's what you do as an adult. And for him to sit there and lie about it just makes it that much worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to have the type of optimism or the type of like steadfast resolve that some people that I see on the timeline have, who are just like, it's sad that Jaguar fans are rooting against Urban Meyer, and it's like, motherfucker, like no one is sorry.
There's so many levels of nuance beyond what
no one's like, are you kidding me? Do you really, like, I want to look at them right now. I'm going to look at you. I'm going to look at you people. Do you think that I've traveled to 2 away games and now 4 straight painful losses that I'm sitting here rooting for that? Or do you think that when all of this happened, I wanted to believe the best, but now I'm looking at a dude with a lengthy rap sheet of immoral and questionable leadership attributes, who now has made his first mistake here, or not really first large mistake here. Like, and now I'm just kind of thinking like a normal ass adult and thinking critically on what might be going on here and where we might be headed. Right? It's not me or any one of us sitting here wishing or hoping that he freaking loses, because guess what? When Urban Meyer loses right now, we all fucking lose. Like, it ain't like we're sitting here trying to, Trevor Lawrence is on the agenda, and if we keep losing, we get Trevor. Like, we want to win some games this year. We want to look competent.
Yeah.
So I'm just so sick of seeing people say that. I can't believe you guys are, oh, you never got any pussy before. And, oh, you just, oh, what kind of fan are you? What kind of fan are you, bro?
You're obsessed, bro. You're obsessed. And I'm like literally fucking just geeking, like shooting off these fucking tweets, just having fun. Like, I don't understand like what people think, but they got that wrong.
I'm a 2-time sex haver. I got proof right here. But everything that you said, Cap, about Shad is something that it shouldn't even take something like this for him to be this involved. Like, that is basic step one. Like, as soon as you like, okay, if he wasn't that involved previously, maybe you didn't really have any players to kind of base that on. You land a Trevor Lawrence, you better know what the hell is going on, man.
He wants to turn it over to someone. And like, he wants to do the old, like, here's the keys, boom, flip them up, flip you the keys.
He's going to keep getting people that, you know, are going to
You're driving. I'm tired of this car. You take care of it. Make me some money. You know, don't lose me money and win me some trophies. Here you go. Yeah. And whatever you need. And that's a hella powerful ability to have, to say, you have listen, person who I'm entrusting, you have a blank checkbook. And you go out and you get after it, because I got more money than I know what to do with. I just don't want to deal with the shit. You deal with the shit, you make the shit great again, and let's roll. Right. But that's, in reality, maybe you can do that if you own a franchise that already is in like a competent stage.
Yeah.
But you can't, because guess one thing we've all learned about coaches, Sally, they all what?
Lie.
All coaches, they all lie.
Lie.
Yeah. Coach ain't going to sit there and tell you, yeah, man, I suck. I don't know what I'm doing.
Anybody who makes the type of money that these guys do are world-class bullshitters. Like,
and guess what? The one, as somebody who has worked for, and worked alongside people who make fuck tons of money, what's the number one attribute they all share?
Great at bullshitting.
No, not even that. Not even that. You know what? They're the greatest thing that they all share? An absolute obsession with not losing that job where they make fuck tons of money. That comes before the production. That comes before anything else. And then the ego too. The ego that comes along with these guys. It's just, and so to think that like you can just be that laissez-faire with some shit, you can't. Yeah, you can't. And I'm gonna keep screaming it. You like that?
That shit was sexy. Say it again.
It's speak French to me, Daddy. Yeah, but I'm gonna keep shouting that shit from the mountaintops, man, until we see some sort of, either he nails a hire where somebody just takes over and they run this shit competently. But it's like I feel like he's perpetually searching for the easy button.
Right.
Urban Meyer, what do you say? Oh, I got this one right. Right. And why do you think he got this right? Because he's won everywhere he's been. Well, did you really check into how he won all these places and the fucking trail of shit he left behind him? I don't know. That's the first question I ask anybody. What the fuck is your plan for Trevor Lawrence? What's your plan for Trevor Lawrence? What's your plan for both sides of the ball? And I don't see what the plan is. I see a dude who here's my honest, and I'll leave it at this. Sorry, I know I'm fucking going on and on with this shit, but like, I'll leave it with this. It feels a hell of a lot like Shad took the keys and he tossed them to Urban. Urban got the keys, took the whip for a ride around the block, and then he tossed the keys over to his coordinators and his 75 other coaches that he hired. And he says, let's do this. A to B, 2+2 mentality. We got this. That's what it feels like. It feels like we're sitting in a scenario where two motherfuckers try to toss the keys to other people. And at some point we need somebody with some grown up ass pants on to come in and just start driving the fucking bus. Like that's what we.
It's going to be our 16. It's going to be our 16-year-old son. In this metaphor, that's the quarterback. He's got to take the keys and be the fucking adult here.
Hey man, I'm fucking with Daryl Bevel the last 2 weeks. I think they're good. Yeah, I don't know, man. He was sick last week.
Other than the goal line call?
The goal line call, like, sure, it's not ideal because you got a giraffe at quarterback and you can QB sneak it, but the play was blocked. Trevor fucked up. So can I blame the offensive coordinator for the quarterback fucking up? Yeah, and I did, and I still will, because it's kind of goes with the flea flicker. It's like too many moving parts.
I didn't even watch that much ball on Sunday, and I saw like two other teams run the same shit in the same situation.
Yeah, and then
which
too,
I thought it was dumb
funny.
as hell at the time, but
Yeah, it's to spread it out, and the play was blocked well. And when
Yeah.
you see how well it was blocked, it's like, I mean, I see why he called the play. The play worked. If Trevor did what Trevor was supposed to do, it works. And I think why it didn't work was because Trevor had already scored 2 times, rushing the ball, holding it on that same play.
You think?
I mean, okay, I know.
I mean, at a certain
Bevel
point,
was in his bag, dude. He was balling out.
yeah, okay. Well, you know what? Like, since you and Beryl are buddies now, can you shoot him a quick fucking note for me? Can we
Yeah, I
get
got
James
you.
Robinson more than 12 fucking carries a game? Can we do
Hey,
that?
I agree. We should do that. But
Can
his
we
play
do
call has
that?
been good.
Hey, in the first quarter, when he's gashing motherfuckers left and right, can we maybe give him a goal, another goal line? Hey, the touchdown he scored was pretty good. How about we try that again on the fucking goal line? How
Hey,
about
put your
we
hat
do?
back on. You're scaring me.
How bad? Like, how about we just fucking take our 7-foot tall quarterback and we just ask him? Hey, you want to play? I got to play for you. Take Trevor, let him go right behind fucking your $73 million man in Norwell, and put Devon Hamilton in at fucking fullback, and let him just
play
go
college ball. Go play college ball.
let him push Trevor the rest of the way if he fucking needs it. Like, are you kidding me?
there's no possible way they don't get in. Yeah. Tell Trevor to take the ball, take the 2 fingers and put it up Norwell's. You know what?
Touchdown.
That's how close he was to a touchdown.
No, you're right. And I wouldn't have called that play, but like if you go back and you watch the offense, especially from like the deeper L22 view, they were kind of dicing him up. And honestly, the biggest fuck up was Joe Colin and playing that cover 0 bullshit and playing everyone 8 yards off the line when we were pressing them in the first half and they couldn't even move the fucking football.
Yeah.
Why you can't?
Yeah, there's plenty of blame to go. There's
plenty
of blame to go around.
Yeah, we can talk about that, and that's for another week. But
I also think, just to put a bow on the Barrel Devil shit, it's like, if he didn't already have a track record for like almost overthinking shit,
yeah,
right? Like, because this 2 big plays in a row where you're like, wait a minute, okay, had everyone executed, it probably was a good play call. Guess what? Everyone didn't fucking execute. And it was in the type of scenario. Hey, guess what? In the Seattle game in the fucking Super Bowl against New England, if everyone executes there,
they throw a touchdown pass.
They throw a touchdown, but they didn't. So at a certain point, from a logic standpoint, it makes more sense to do other shit.
You're presenting more opportunities.
I was going to say that, but don't, because if you, when people use the word logic, then I start to become myself. And I look at who was the only player who fucked up on both plays. The quarterback. So are we going to continue to blame the offensive coordinator, or are we going to continue to be like, well, the quarterback needs to play better in these, moments of game-changing ability?
I mean, I'll toss that back to you.
It's easier to fuck up as a quarterback doing what these play calls were than, just fucking lining up and shoving the fucking ball over.
For sure. But if he executes both, we might win both games.
Yeah. I mean, and if my aunt had a fucking cock, she'd be my uncle. So like at the end of the day, like,
sure.
I mean,
really though, it depends on how they identify, but
right. And we're very accepting and understanding in this podcast. All are welcome. All different types, shapes, kinds, preferences, pronouns, whatever pronouns you have, we're good with them.
Even if you got an open relationship, we're cool with it.
Right. Like my man Pervy Irby. Anyway, yeah, I don't know.
It's fun. It's just fun to think about. I don't know.
It's not. It wasn't that fun in the moment. It wasn't that fun.
No, it's fun for me to think about with you. Present options, poke holes. Fun.
It's good.
So before we get out of here, we got to get into our last ad, which has a lot to do with sliding things into places. Gotta talk about our guys at A1 Sliders, sliding glass door and window repair. I think Dillard's still recovering from that transition there.
Good stuff.
So you want to go to a1sliders.com. or you want to give them a call at 386-538-6835 if you want your sliding glass door to slide into its place, sort of how your head coach's fingers slide in between denim. I really don't know how to make it any more clear than that.
That's it.
We've all seen the videos.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Like
4K
a glove.
is 4K, bro. Even in potato vision, we could tell it was you because of your doofy ass socks, bro. Come on, man.
Oh, I'm saying, bro, like get incognito, my man. You know, like
my man went to Urban Shop House and got exposed. How do you go to like your own fucking kitchen?
one of the first. Well, and so getting back to the whole: is the guy an asshole? Is he not? Is he a good leader? That says a lot to me, bro. You're in your bar, your establishment, and we got more angles of your exploits than we did than we do Fast and Furious movies. Like we like it is like there was like a production crew there getting these videos.
They had it timed out too, bro. Like if you want to get conspiracy theory, like they timed him out. They had different releases. They had accounts that were made special for it and then came down. Like somebody got his ass.
It might have been a hit piece, man. It might have been like that girl might have been planted, like, you know?
Yeah.
Cayman, Nebraska.
Hey, what's up with that?
It's a wild name, but you know
That's a fake name. That's a fake name.
I don't know, man. That's on her IG.
I know.
It's in all the articles.
I've seen it all. But
shout out to Bossman Craze. I know he listens to this. I went and looked at her IG and it's private, but he was following, so I respect it. Means he probably means he got in there before the chaos.
He snuck in there, but he snuck in there.
Hey, call that man 2 fingers. He slid right in.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh,
he must have called A1 Sliders to get his sliding glass door and window repaired. A free estimate. Because he slid right in there.
That's it. I mean, like if you're gonna do it, you might as well get a free estimate. Like, I love it.
Hey, this week I want someone to go to get their oil change and ask for the Urban Mile special and record it. When you ask, just pull into like the 5-minute oil change and be like, "Can I get the Urban Meyer special?" And just hit the record, tweet it at the pod. We'll retweet that. That'd be great.
Hey, what can we do? What can we do you for today? Just one Urban Meyer, please.
Just someone do it, please. I don't need my oil change, but if you do, perfect opportunity to get some followers.
Oh, anything else, Sally? What's on the agenda there behind you?
I think we've gone through them all, haven't we?
I think so. That was elite. Just like this podcast. Just like Trevor Lawrence, except when it's 4th and goal.
I will say it was comforting to watch Trevor talk today because every time you watch Trevor talk, he's really good at it. And
so good at it. How funny is it that his son, Gene?
Yeah, that was awesome.
God, so good.
One thing we didn't really talk about that we could kind of wrap on a minute is another funny, like kind of really funny aspect of this whole thing has been the way the local media has covered it.
Hey, 1 second before we go, did you say aspect? Okay.
Hey, way to butt in there, buddy.
I also had a lot of
the end of this podcast is cheeks.
I also had a lot of fun coming up with songs involving grinding, booty dancing, and cheating on for the tailgate on Sunday this morning on the Twitter machine.
We have a tailgate Sunday? Are we playing football? What's going on here? I thought this was just TMZ.
I'm just gonna slide right on down to the stadium and
we got Maury at 10, tailgating at 11, and kickoffs at 1. So we'll find out if Urban Meyer's the daddy or not.
Oh, you gotta get in where you fit in. Dilla, what's the status for the weekend? Are you getting your tenders? You getting the tendies?
Of course, that's without question. 11, 10, probably hang out a little longer since the old Papa Dilla is back in Minnesota. But of course, we'll be getting tenders. JB actually texted me today. Can't wait to go to Touchdown Grill. So it's legit.
JB, love you, JB.
Love you, JB.
If I'm love you, JB.